Hey folks, I'm Craig Lipinski.
I'm Seth Castellum.
And I'm Chris Dunn.
And you're listening to episode 6 of Ludowave Radio, the smooth sounds of video game talk. And it should sound a whole lot smoother this episode because for the first time in our history, at least, we're recording separate audio tracks.
Oh shit, we are? Was I supposed to hit something?
Who said that? I don't know. That audio track is just not here.
You should put me on the left speaker and Chris on the right speaker, so it just annoys everybody as they're listening.
I think it gets output to a mono mix.
Ah, I see.
So I don't think that probably wouldn't work. This is the height of podcasting in 2010. But it was always just easier just to record from my end. But that meant that I sounded okay, and you two sounded like a Skype call. So after last episode, I think it was high time to stop doing that. I think
I don't think anybody listens to any episode long enough to know that there were audio problems.
I actually listened to the last episode because I wasn't on it, so take that.
And how was
at
that
least
audio?
One episode in our history has had one person listen fully the way through it.
I used to listen when we did TV and Lust. I used to listen to every single episode we recorded for the first 50 episodes or something. And I'm not.
And how were we?
We were actually pretty entertaining. In hindsight.
Occasionally I do listen to. I can't listen to a whole episode. I don't want to hear my own stupid voice. I'm surprised anyone else does. But I can't listen to a whole episode. But I have heard some of them, especially when I'm putting them together, of course. And we're not bad. So I'm kind of hoping this improvement in sound quality, maybe we'll get 7 reviews in iTunes after this episode. Someone's review it. The audio is great. Everything's clear as a bell. It's amazing.
Yeah, if you're listening and you're enjoying the new audio, please give us reviews. It won't do shit except boost our self-esteem, but I really need that right now. So
that's the most important thing, I would say.
Absolutely.
At least for me.
Do it for Seth.
Thank you.
So it's been 2 weeks. It's been not a terribly eventful 2 weeks for me. Megan and I have been addicted to this show on Netflix called Terrace House, which
Terrorist
is a Japanese
House. Got it.
Terrorist. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Can you spell that for us?
Yeah, terrorist or terrace house.
That whatever.
Is this a spelling bee? Is this a quiz? Can you use it in a sentence?
Yes, terrace. It's terrace. Right?
It's terrace. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a Japanese reality show. My understanding is it aired on Fuji TV originally as a series. I don't know, a few years ago, 2012 maybe. I don't know. And then it ended, and Netflix sort of picked it up and revived it. And I don't know why it's really good, but it's really good. There's 6 people in this house, and most of the time they're really polite to each other. And then when there's disagreements, it's really human. I feel like the arguments are sort of, there's a humanity to them that's not nah, bitch, I know you slept with him. It's not bananas. And it's strange because there's also commentators. There's almost people like MST3K in the show. That's... actors and comedians. I think it's a panel of 5 or 6 people, and they're just sitting around in a living room set. They remark that it's a set, but it's a living room, and they're all just sort of sitting around with Apple earbuds in their ears, listening to it, just watching it. And then every so often it'll cut back to them, and they'll take their earbuds out, and they'll be like, "What the fuck was that?" Or it's just And usually I'm not one for Japanese humor, but it's actually pretty funny. But it's totally my jam. There's 2 series. There's the first one's called Boys and Girls in the City, which is a very Japanese name. And the second one's called Aloha State, because that one's in Hawaii. But we're still watching Boys and Girls in the City because that's it's 40-something episodes.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really long.
Cow.
It makes me a little homesick.
Is it hour-long episodes?
30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
So no, not an hour, but not the 22 minutes cut, a half hour cut for commercials or whatever. It's 30 to 40 minutes. I'm pretty sure the house, it's not really disclosed where it is, but I'm pretty sure it's like in the area of Tokyo that I stay in when I'm there. In some earlier episodes, some people in the house would go running in the park, and like that's the park that I eat breakfast in.
Nice.
So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool seeing that. But yeah, super into Terrace House. Not super into the Death Note movie that just came out today on Netflix. That was really bad. I'm not usually into anime or manga, but I did like Death Note when it first came out, and I did not like that movie.
There's a Death Note movie. Was it produced by Netflix?
Yeah, and it's American. Like yeah, and it loses a lot because of that. Not because of like it needs, because of Glorious Nippon or anything like that. But I just think there's a certain like, I don't know. It's hard for me to say without being Japanese, of course. But like, there's a certain, I think, pathos to Japanese culture where someone running around with a notebook killing people is really intriguing. Whereas in America, I don't know, teenagers sort of kill people quite often here. That's not with a notebook, but that's actually not atypical, maybe. So I think it sort of maybe loses something in that translation.
All right. I liked Death Note. I liked the first half better than the back half.
Yeah, the back half is okay, but yeah, it definitely loses something at that. Yeah, at that point. Well, anyway, that's me.
I'll be sure to avoid Death Note.
No, you should watch the shit out of that. I did.
All right, maybe.
All right. Well, how you been doing, Seth?
I've been all right. Not much has been happening, but Craig, you were just like telling me I should go shoot some hoops, like in a mocking sort of way. And I was telling you that this new house I'm in actually does have like a basketball hoop, has like a almost half court. And sometimes I like to go out there and I just shoot free throws. And I like to see how many free throws I can make in a row. And I'm going to tell a little story right now. All right. Back when I was in 6th grade.
Not all right.
Nope. The school, shut up. The school had a little competition where like everybody had to like participate and was who could make the most free throws out of 10. And I ended up making 7 or 8 or something, which was actually the best out of all the sixth graders. And I actually cheated on one of them. Like one of them, like when I shot it, it like got wedged between the rim and the backboard. But my friend was the one who was like with the clipboard writing it all down. He's like, just shoot it again. So I was able to win out of pure cheating because that shouldn't have been mine. I should have tied at best. Anyway,
is that a metaphor for your entire life?
Maybe.
It is for mine. I mean, that was an accusation. I mean, that's just how we get by. I understand.
So the winner from the school got to go to like a citywide competition that was held at a YMCA, and my dad drove me there, and I was like super nervous. And there were I'm like getting nervous just like remembering this. And my dad's like, "Hey, why don't you go practice, buddy?" And I was like, "All right." So like I picked up like there's like a pile of balls, and I picked one up and like started shooting. And I was like, okay. I was like not doing great. And then like one of the guys running the whole event was like, that's the girls' court right there. Those are the girls' court and girls' ball. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm just practicing anyways. Like, all right. So then I look over at the boys' side. And this shit's like full-on NBA size. And I'm like in 6th grade shooting like in a little 6th grade thing at school. And now like, anyway, so I get up to the, it's finally my turn. And I get up to the free throw line. And I got like a rack of 10 basketballs next to me. And I cannot even hit the rim with a single fucking one. Just every single one was an air ball. And I was dying, and just in front of a bunch of people and in front of my dad, and just every single one.
Did he make you walk home in the rain or something?
It was it was like one of the worst feeling moments for me. And I just like had to keep shooting. I didn't want to, but I looked over at my dad. And he's like, just like sort of shrugged, like whatever. And I was like, all right, I'll just fucking airball these last 5. And then he was like, oh, it's okay, buddy. And then we drove home, and I just wanted to die. So now at this new house, we have a half court, and I like to go on the free throw line, and I like to see how many I can make out of 10, just out of fucking spite from like 11-year-old me in 6th grade.
Just to relive your horrible childhood memories.
Well, I've just tried to erase them. I think what it is. The best I've done is 8 out of 10 on this court, so I'm actually not too horrible.
That sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah, I could shoot. I can't fucking dribble or anything worth shit though. So.
I just want to back up for a minute here, because not to undermine your achievements, but there's a free throw championship. Was this like the day after the hopscotch finals? What the fuck is a free throw champ? What is this?
I don't know. I think it was just something to like get the kids in the city interested in competing in things, because it's like something like super simple that like they could set up like just fucking shoot 10 baskets, So I don't know, but. It was all very humiliating, and that's why I am the way I am today.
Amazing.
That explains it all.
Yep. What have you been up to, Chris?
I have not been up to very much. Jackie and I are trying not to spend any money going out to eat or buying extraneous bullshit, as I am known to do, for the month of August. So there hasn't been a whole lot of going out or buying new video games or whatever. We actually went out for the first time in a while yesterday with a couple friends, because we are going to their wedding in October, and I have to be the person who marries them. So we talked about that and stuff, and I'm super nervous about that because, as you guys know, I'm really good about public speaking and talking to everybody out up there on the internet, and, being up there in person.
Can't be any worse than this fucking podcast, dude.
I beg to differ. It probably could. I don't have to see all the people listening to us, all 7 of them, while I'm sitting here talking into a microphone. So, pretty nervous about that. But it's also kind of feels really good to know that they picked me to do it. So,
do you have to have a license to marry them or something? How's that work?
You can get it online. I got it from the Universal Life Church. You pay $30 and they'll send you a certificate and stuff.
What the fuck religion is this?
It's not a religion.
You can't. You get married by the government, Craig.
Yeah.
I
had no idea it was that easy to get. Say that again?
Did you have to take a test or something?
No.
I say $30.
No, actually, you didn't even have to pay $30 to get ordained. You have to pay $30 to get the certificate and the paperwork, but according to the website that I did it on, which this makes it sound really illegitimate now that I say it that way. When I just clicked the buttons online and didn't pay them any money is when it became official. So we'll see if that's true or not. But it's cool that they picked me. Although, I'm still super nervous about it. So
you'll do all right. Now you'll be good.
I'm gonna get ordained. So. I'm just gonna start fucking marrying random people walking together.
This is legally binding. You're married.
There's the witness. You'll do fine.
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much the only thing. That's not something I did this week, obviously, but it's been on my mind because it literally just happened last night, and
all right,
we talked about it a lot, and I'm like, fuck, I have to actually do this thing soon. So, hopefully it goes well. Fingers crossed.
The biggest thing I took away from that is that you said you weren't going out for the month of August, but then you went out in the month of August. So it sounds like you just fucking blew that.
Well, they paid for it, so it doesn't count.
Oh, you got nice. That if I could fist bump you through Skype, I totally would.
All I have to do is marry somebody, and I get a free dinner out of it.
Was that the payment? I was wondering, is that payment for services rendered?
They paid for it because I paid to get the paperwork and stuff for the ordainment.
I see.
Because I basically got ordained specifically for this one ceremony. I'm not planning to do a ton more weddings, but I'm available in case anybody out there is
just a couple of bar mitzvahs, whatever the fuck, whatever I can squeeze.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. If anybody in the Milwaukee area is listening and wants Chris to marry you, he's available.
It's true.
Yeah, you should do it. Yeah, we could do live on the podcast.
Oh my god. That'd be terrible. I'd feel sorry for whatever couple that
we should podcast my wedding.
All right.
We should do that.
No, no. Megan's going to listen to this later, and she's like, nah, dude.
I don't really blame her.
Not me neither.
We
It's a
got to
horrible
get a
idea.
couple more good reviews before we can do something like that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
No, just do it, Megan. Just do it. It'll be fun. You'll be internet famous.
No, you don't want that.
Craig was internet famous.
Was?
Yeah, look at me now. I'm like Corey Feldman. I'm like washed up and shitty.
I'm about to say he's still trying, but so are you. So.
He's still out there. He puts himself out there.
He
That's
does.
true. That's true. Is that all, Chris? You got anything else going on?
Yeah, no, I haven't been up to much this week, so that seemed like something good to share with you guys.
Or month? It's been a little while.
It has been a month. I guess it has, but like I said, for most of that, we haven't been going out or doing much. So,
Gotcha.
sitting at home and playing Splatoon and drinking.
Nice.
Myself into an
Those are
early
good
grave.
things. Splatoon will do that to you, especially with all the disconnects.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about some games. I have been playing the usual suspects, but in the last 2 weeks, the newest thing that I played and that I really, really enjoyed was the Monster Hunter Stories demo on 3DS. Did either of you play this?
I just got into the cave. How much longer is the demo after that?
Long. It's pretty big. Like you can. So the demo, the North American or maybe even Western demo is like you can probably spend about 10 hours in it. It's like the whole beginning of the game without limitations up until like a certain story beat.
Okay.
The only limitation I think is you can't activate Street Pass, but you can set up like your Street Pass card. Like you can do everything except for actually activate Street Pass. That's side quests, that's main quests, that's collecting monsters, that's leveling up, that's upgrading equipment, everything. And it all translates, all of that. Everything you collect, everything you do transfers over to the final game, which comes out on the day of our next show in 2 weeks. So I played the Japanese demo. I actually own the Japanese version of the game, didn't get around to playing it. And then shortly after I got it, it was announced for North America. So it was just kind of like, what's the point now? I did play the Japanese demo though. I really liked it, but that was a vertical slice. It wasn't like the opening of the game, and I think you get a little bit more out of starting from the beginning and sort of carving out, your own character. And it gives you, a look into pretty much how everything works in that game. It's, sometimes with demos, like a vertical slice is helpful because then you can see what, later in the game looks and feels like, and that's probably more a representation of what the game actually is. But, Monster Hunter Stories does a really good job of introducing you to, pretty much all the systems that you're going to use while you play the game. One thing that I think is pretty interesting is that there's randomized caves. So that cave, that first cave that you go into, there's actually randomized caves. So each time you leave the village, and there's more villages. There's more than one, which is not typical to Monster Hunter. When you leave a town, the field is then populated with randomized caves, and then you go in there, and these caves are very tiny. There's like 1 or 2 chambers. Some of the bigger ones, they're gold colored. I don't know how you color a cave gold, but it's gold, and
Probably
they're a
it's
little
gold.
bit. Right, it's
spray
shiny
paint.
and yellow. It's gold spray, but the monsters are very clever. They're very artistic, and those are a little bit bigger. And you get to the end, and you collect an egg, and then if you can escape with that egg, you get a new monster buddy.
No,
and they're randomized.
Use the right term. Use what the game calls them.
Monsties.
Monstie.
Monsties.
It's a portmanteau of bestie and monster. Because
I think that's just to differentiate it from being from calling them. I think it's just like monsters that you kill.
right, but Monstie.
And because the game makes a distinction between the village that you live in, which is which is made up of people who befriend monsters, and most of the villages in the world, which is made up of people who just go out and slaughter them for their bones, so they can make bigger weapons to slaughter more of them for bones. The world is just wide open. You can explore. You can gather resources like you would in any other Monster Hunter game. Battles are, standard JRPG. You can see the monsters on the map. You touch them. It goes to a turn-based battle. It's you and one monster, which you can have a party of, 6 or 8 at a time, and you just swap that one monster in and out.
All right. Well, let me say something really embarrassing about that. When I had to fight my first monster, I went up behind it, and then I was hitting every button trying to figure out how to draw my sword out. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this game? I was trying to look in the manual and what do I do? And I was it's one of those Parasaurolophus looking dinosaur monsters that were just super easy herbivores to kill. And I was standing in his tail. So I was I don't know. And then I just tried to walk into him, and then a turn-based battle system started. I went, oh, you don't play this game like Monster Hunter.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, well, there are other JRPGs where if you want to initiate battle and get the drop on, like Persona, for instance, you do actually swing a weapon. Mm-hmm. You don't do that in Monster. You just got to touch them in the butt.
Yeah. To
get the surprise attack, you touch the butt. And the battle system it's weird because it's simplistic on its face because it's just basically rock paper scissors. Mm-hmm. And if you can see if a monster is going to attack your player character, you actually don't get to decide what rock paper scissors move your monster gets to make. You can choose the skills that your monster uses, which they unlock as they level up, but you don't get to pick what rock paper scissors move they do. But if the enemy monster is going to attack you, you can see that, and then when you pick one of these moves, you can actually cancel out their attack if you pick the winning move. If you pick the losing move, they steamroll you instead, and if you pick the same move, it's you both attack. Mm-hmm. And monsters have patterns, so it's about learning that monster's pattern and then using the right moves. And the more you use the right moves, the more it builds up this kinship meter with the monster you have out. When that fills, you can then ride the monster and do some cool attacks, some powered up attacks, and then you get a victory screen that says "Teamwork makes the dream work." And I'm super into that. I like it.
Teamwork. The thing, I like this game. It's very all the characters are very young centric and stuff, but it sort of makes me just feel nostalgic for just young, carefree, I don't know, times.
It does do a very good job of that, and I think it has a very pleasing art style, mm-hmm. and a very good complementary color palette to go along with that.
It's very bright and happy.
Very bright and happy, but it's. I mean, you can still fuck up bright and happy. It's just I think that particular palette they went with is really good.
It looks good.
Yeah. It looks good. I mean, it's definitely pushing the 3DS to its limits because there's a lot of geometry pop in, and you go out in the field and just cliffs will just drop in out of nowhere.
Even in the town, when the people walk too far away, they turn into shadows.
They do. They turn into silhouettes. Yeah, because to save on memory, so they don't have to load their character. So yeah, it's doing stuff like that. But other than those caveats, it's actually a really, really good looking game. Especially with how big and wide open some of these spaces are and how detailed, some of the assets are.
Yeah, no, Capcom definitely threw some money at this game.
And my understanding is it didn't perform well in Japan at all.
Yeah, I look at the Media Create sales every week, and that game did not do great in Japan.
Which is bonkers because it's not a Monster Hunter cash-in. This is not just a shitty side thing that they did to make extra money. It's a really good side thing they did to make extra money. It's actually really, really good. So that's on the North American 3DS eShop. Like I said, it's a completely unrestricted, solid. I mean, I finished it and I played pretty much everything in about 8 hours. But I think you could probably scrape a little bit more out of that if you wanted to. So 8 to 10 hours, and
that's
all that transfers over. It is. It's really I've played full games I paid money for less than that. Yeah, it's really good. I highly recommend it. I'm looking forward to the retail release in 2 weeks.
I might check this out. I've never played any Monster Hunter, and the demo is that meaty, it seems like maybe a good place for somebody like me to check it out and actually get a good feeling for the experience. I worry going into a demo like that for a game like Monster Hunter that's so big that there's not going to, I'll play it for 2 hours and it'll be over and I won't have gotten really a good feeling for what it plays like. So
Well, it's worth noting that this doesn't really play a lot like your standard Monster Hunter. It borrows a lot of the elements. Like, it integrates a lot of, like, the standard Monster Hunter elements really well into a JRPG. But it's not, like, the same kind of, like, tactical survival kind of game as standard Monster Hunter is.
It's, like, nowhere near as stressful or confusing as Monster Hunter is.
Right, but I think that's also
that sounds
a good
better,
thing.
actually.
Right, if you've never played Monster Hunter, this is still a good place to start because you're not going in with any of those preconceived notions of what a Monster Hunter game is, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I prefer to the regular Monster Hunter formula just because it's just more laid back. I like it.
It's very laid back. It's a lot of fun. But that's the only thing of note that I really played. How about you, Chris? What have you played in the last month?
Well, the biggest thing I played is Splatoon 2, which we've talked about a decent amount because obviously you guys both played it, and I wasn't here last week to talk about the fact that I had played it. But I really like it. I didn't play a whole lot of the original Splatoon. I played it for maybe an hour or two. And I was like, this is okay, but this isn't really for me. I've never really been big into online games. I tend to... We talked about this in the past, so I don't need to go over it again. But I am really enjoying it. When I played the original Splatoon, I played with the motion controls, and I was like, I don't like this at all. And there were just some things that turned me off. And this one, I don't know if they've changed the motion controls or if I'm just taking to them better, but I mean, I didn't turn them off at all, and they felt very natural to me. Are you guys playing with the motion controls on?
No, I'm too old for that shit.
No, I can't. I play handheld, and to me, they don't feel really good handheld, like moving the screen around.
That's fair.
But
I have played a bit handheld, and it definitely throws it off that way. But I'm surprised at how natural they feel because, like I said, the first time I played Splatoon on the Wii U, I was not a big fan of the motion controls at all. Although, again, I didn't put a whole lot of time into it. So, but I really like it, and I've noticed, like, I really like the fact that I can feel myself getting better as I'm playing more. When I started out, I mean, it was fun, but I was always at the bottom of the rankings, and I didn't have a whole lot of coverage of the floor, and I wasn't killing a lot of guys, and I can feel myself getting better. I notice that I'm killing more guys. I notice that I'm maneuvering the areas better, and I'm changing to a squid when I need to, and using the sub weapons and stuff better than I was when I started, and that's what I like about it. A lot of games, you feel there's a progression where you get better as you get better items, and obviously that's in here too. But just the progression I'm feeling just as I am learning the game better and getting a better understanding of how to maneuver the world and stuff. I think it's really cool.
I think a big part of that is how brief the matches are, where you can play a 3-minute match and sort of assess how you did, and then play another 3-minute match and sort of like incrementally get better pretty quickly, whereas you play like something like Overwatch and you're stuck in a match for 15 minutes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I definitely noticed it as I just hit level 10 and got up to the is it ranked battles or league battles or whichever it is. And all of a sudden I'm getting murdered again because everybody's really good in those modes. But having seen myself progress already, I'm not hesitant to play a bit more of that and see myself get better at that too. So it's a game that's simple but also deceptively complex because it's we talked about it last week and you or not last week but 2 episodes ago I guess, and you guys said just buy the game, all you have to do is shoot the floor, and that is all it is, but it is really a lot more than that, which I think is really awesome.
It's funny because in the first game I was like always going after inking mostly, like ink as much as I can, just kill like if it was convenient for me. But in the second game, I noticed that I just really enjoy killing people, and a lot of times I'll have like the lowest ink score but then the highest kills. But I don't know. I guess it's just because I mostly play roller, and they changed the roller fling distance, so I could just kill people a lot easier now, actually. But no,
yeah, I feel like the rollers are pretty devastating now.
Yeah, they're murder machines now. They're good.
I liked the roller in what I played of the first one. Although in this one I've been using the arrow spray, I think, which is just like a machine gun that sprays a bunch of area. But I'm
That's
really enjoying
the
it. And I like
colored one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Everybody loves the arrow spray.
It's a
Yeah.
good gun.
It is a good gun. I'm not denying it. It's just basic. So
I am a basic squid. A
Way to
basic
make me
bitch
feel
squid.
bad about the fact that I feel good about the game now, Seth.
Oh, I'm sorry that you used the
That's
arrow
what I,
spray.
Chris. That is what I use too. No worries, man.
All right. I feel better now. The other thing that I've been playing in the past couple weeks is a randomized version of The Legend of Zelda for the NES.
Is that what that is? I thought you guys were doing like sequence breaking or something. I saw you. I saw you playing this with some other people on Twitter.
Yeah,
And I thought you guys were like sequence breaking.
We started out playing A Link to the Past with a randomizer on that, which basically mixes up the position of the items. So you have to go to the dungeons in different orders because, if you go to, the first dungeon and you don't find the bow and arrow, you can't complete the dungeon because you need that in order to progress. So it mixes up the placement of the items, and it's kind of like, I've talked about how I've played the swordless quest in the original Zelda. It's a thing where you need to know the game really well so that you do need to sequence break, but it's different because you don't know where everything is.
With that kind of randomization, is it possible to get like fucked, getting like a solitaire hand you can't solve?
My understanding is it's not, because it runs some kind of algorithm and figures out exactly what positions, what placement will make it still possible to finish the game. But obviously, I've only played it once, and I can't say that I've played every single permutation. So it's entirely possible, but from what I understand, it's very unlikely.
Does it only remix like dungeon items, or like is it all inventory items, or like the guy under the bridge give you like the cape?
The way I was playing it in A Link to the Past, it is all the items. So the guy under the bridge, I don't remember what he gave me, but the guy who's selling the bottle in town actually gave me the Master Sword. So
fantastic.
And I
found in the forest over here.
Yeah. And I found the lantern in, I think, the Thieves' Town dungeon in the Dark World. So you can't finish the first dungeon because there's dark rooms and you can't figure out where you're going. You can't finish the Hyrule Castle dungeon because there's dark rooms in there. And it's really fun because it challenges, it's a game I've played so many times, but it really makes you think about where you need to go next, and how you need to use certain items to defeat enemies when you don't have the item you normally use to defeat them and things like that. So it's really cool.
So how do you get through the beginning of the game if you don't have the lantern?
Well, when you go through the sewers, right at the very beginning, it lights up the sewers, or it puts the light in front of you, because obviously you can't progress past that part without having the lantern. Mm-hmm. But when you come to the Eastern Palace, the first real dungeon of the game, if you don't have the lantern, which I didn't, you don't even see your sprite on the screen. It's literally just black. So I said, fuck this, I'm leaving. And I just you go to the next dungeon and see what you can find there. Or you explore the world and see what you can find. I think I went to try to get the flippers, and I was given the magic powder. So that was not very helpful.
Is there a way to, you said it runs an algorithm, so you're guaranteed to get the mirror and the moon pearl before you hit that story beat to go to the Dark World?
I believe so, yeah. I definitely got them early on, so.
I see. Interesting. If that's because that's the only way you can't do a game like that truly randomly, because then it would bork you. So
right, I'm sure there's only a certain number of permutations that it can actually do. It's random, but not every single element is random, I guess, would be the best way to say it. There's a certain number of key items that you have to have in order to progress at certain points. And as somebody who's played the game again a ton of times, it's fun to try to do that and still see it as kind of a new experience. It's not entirely a new experience because obviously the dungeon layouts are all the same and the world is still the same, but it adds that new wrinkle to it. Something that makes it interesting again.
I would not have the patience for that. the
No, me neither. Absolutely not. No, I think it's cool that Chris does, but I would not be able to put up with that at all.
That would be like something like 6-year-old me would love. Because then I can just keep playing this. But no, Chris is the true Legend of Zelda fan here to put up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to the point, we started playing a couple of guys on Twitter, like you said, and I do this, every couple of months or couple of years where we play a Zelda game all at the same time. And this was just a way for us to do it in a different way and kind of actually like race and see which one of us could actually progress while still actually having a challenge, because obviously we all know the game so well because we've played it a million times. But I actually haven't finished A Link to the Past yet, although I started playing this is where I started before we got off on this, but I played through the original Legend of Zelda on a randomized version. And that actually has a lot more randomization elements that you can do, because you can mix you can mix all of the cave entrances, so the dungeons are in different locations.
Oh man.
Like completely different, or like they're all in the dungeons are the same locations, but 6 might be 4 or whatever.
Do you mean like the bush that you burn and the guy makes you pay 50 rupees for instead is now a dungeon?
It has a whole bunch of different check marks you can do, so you can probably mix them up within the dungeon locations or within every single cave. The way I did it the way I did it is mixed up throughout every single cave.
Oh man!
Oh Jesus Christ, Chris!
So again, this is something you should not do unless you've played through the original Zelda as often as I have. And like I said, I did finish it. So
wow.
I don't know if that says a good thing or a bad thing about me, but unlike A Link to the Past, it mixes up the dungeon locations. You can mix up the enemy locations. You can mix up like where you get you can move the wooden sword cave so you don't get the wooden sword right away. And I mean, you can do all kinds of ridiculous stuff.
How long did it take you to play through this game remixed?
It definitely took longer than it would take me to do it without being remixed, but I finished it in like a day.
All right.
Wow! Holy shit! No, hell no! I would bury that game in a time capsule and just bury it in the yard and just be like, that's it. I'm never playing this game again.
Yeah, you can remix a bunch of different elements. They also have presets that you can do. So I did a preset which was called like Third Quest, which mixes up the dungeon locations. It mixes up the rooms inside the dungeons. So the layout is still the same, but you might actually get the Triforce in the second room of the dungeon instead of at the end, which in some cases kind of it's like, oh, this isn't very interesting. I just beat the level without beating it. But again, for somebody like me who's beaten it a bunch of times, it does make it more fun, I think. And it's something I'm going to go in and try checking a whole bunch of different boxes to see what happens. You can make it so you run into Lionels anywhere in the world rather than just on Death Mountain.
Pass.
So I mean, you can make it the way I played it. Level 1 is still level 1. It's just the rooms are mixed up. So there's still that progression of difficulty where you're going to the easy levels first and the hard levels last. But you can randomize it more than that if you want to. But I read about this and I thought it was really interesting and I wanted to try it. So I'm interested to see what kind of other permutations I can find, but
I can barely put up with Dungeon 9's bullshit. Like when I know where I'm going, I can't even imagine that last dungeon all randomized with different rooms everywhere.
The worst part was I went and I defeated Ganon, and Zelda was not actually behind Ganon, so then I had to explore the dungeon more and find her.
You didn't even kidnap her; just fucking killed him anyway.
I didn't do it, I swear.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Haha. Oh, wait, no, she's not here. Fuck. Sorry I killed you.
There's like a pile of bacon in the previous room.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something great for me, somebody who goes through this game and plays it without a sword or does dungeons in reverse order or tries to sequence break and stuff. Somebody who really loves this game that much. There's a lot of games I play where I play them kind of like comfort food. I play them because I know exactly where I'm going, and I just want to hit those beats and play through it quick and know exactly what I'm doing. But Zelda, the original Zelda, is a game where it's really fun to try to mix it up, at least for me. So this was something I thought was really cool. And again, it's not for everybody, and I totally get that.
Where can people find these games if the listeners want to try them out?
you do have to download a ROM of the original Zelda, which you're not supposed to do that, but I own the original Zelda about 8 times or so I don't feel too bad about it. But if you go onto Google and you search Zelda Randomizer, there's a site and you can download the thing that'll patch the ROM for you.
Nice.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's it for me. What about you, Seth? What have you been playing?
All right, I've been decided to try to clear out some of my 3DS backlog, and I decided like an easy go-to game that I never finished would be Epic Mickey Power of Illusion. And I stopped playing this game. One? Yeah, the 3DS one. I stopped playing this game back in the day because it's fucking bullshit.
It is fucking bullshit.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that was fucking bullshit.
Yeah, no. So I fucking powered through it anyway. And the funny thing is, like, it wouldn't take a lot to fix this game. Like, literally, the main deal breaker is that you have to, like, pause every fucking minute, half minute, just to, like, either paint or erase something.
It breaks the flow so much. And it's so disappointing because this is the Henry Hatsworth and Monster Tale people.
Yeah,
and those
I was
games
a huge fan of
great.
Henry Hatsworth, and Monster Tale is pretty great, too. And
all right.
Epic Mickey was just not.
So, yeah, Mickey already has an attack where he, like, can shoot out ink at people or at enemies, and you could like switch between the ink or the acetone eraser. I don't know what the fuck it is. So like, why can't you
nail
just
polish remover?
Yeah, exactly. Why can't you just shoot that at the like objects you need to make appear or disappear? Like already that will make things like snappier. And
because then you're not using the touchscreen. You got
but you don't need to use the fucking touchscreen. Like
I know you don't. No, but that's...
all right. No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing too. In the game, you like earn stickers or something. They're like special portraits that you could like paint whenever you want. That you could like choose from like a little loadout that you could take a different amount with you. Like you could take like basically a thwomp block to like kill enemies, or like an extra platform. So like you could still use the touchscreen just for like those very special things that you're going to be using like very rarely, and then you still got that whole like paint thing going on. And then also with the portraits that you get, they're like 90% of them are absolutely useless. Like I literally only use the like extra platform so I could like get up into hidden areas and stuff. And then the game has like this little mini hub like in between the worlds where like you rescue a bunch of different Disney characters in the levels, and then they give you like little tasks and quests to go on, which is basically just making you backtrack to levels. But it's literally just replaying the exact same fucking level that you've already played, but you just gotta like look for something, either another character to find or like a treasure chest that'll appear there only once. One of these people in the hub area give you a quest. So you're replaying the same exact fucking levels over and over and over with like zero change in the level. And that's ridiculous because they got this whole portrait system where you like earn and find new portraits, where they could have given you abilities where you could like access new parts of the levels. Because there's nothing wrong with backtracking the levels per se. Demon's Crest on Super Nintendo does it really well. When you get new abilities, you could like find whole new like branches and paths within the levels, and then they'll even open up like new areas and new levels on the world map and everything. So it's like very basic things where like the game is almost good, but they just fucked it all up and made it very annoying to play. And I don't know why. They were like just almost there. And I think like budget might have to come into it, because there's only 11 levels in this game. And like it just like suddenly ends. Like you feel like you're nowhere near the end of the level. Like you beat like each there's 3 worlds and each one has 4 levels, except for then the last world only has 3 levels for some reason. And then all of a sudden Oswald's like, "Hey Mickey, we could fight the last boss now." I'm like, "What? Where did this come from?" Like I feel like I haven't gone anywhere in this fucking castle. And then the last boss is probably like one of the easiest bosses as well. And I'm just like, all right.
Which is like a huge contrast to Henry Hatsworth, where the final boss was so horseshit.
I don't, and like nowhere in the game does explain why the evil witch of the game, Miserabelle, why she looks exactly like Maleficent. I have no idea why. It doesn't tell me. I thought.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it's not answered. So I don't know. Fuck Epic Mickey. They could have made a good game in there, but I don't know what happened.
I'm sure, like you said, probably budget and time were probably like big concerns in regards to like how the game just sort of drops off and how why like the levels aren't bigger. But I would also guess that like Dream Rift probably had specifications from Disney Interactive, such as like using the touchscreen to paint objects or whatever. Like, I'm sure they wouldn't, like, no reasonable game programmer looking at them like, oh, yeah, no, players love to stop exactly what they're doing every 15 seconds to doodle on the touchscreen and then walk another 15 seconds and doodle again. No one likes that. No, that would have totally been caught in playtesting, and I'm sure it was Disney Interactive was like, nope, you got to use the touchscreen.
Has probably a lot to do with it. Yeah, so, fuck.
Life's too short to play bad games, Seth.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like playing a bad game every now and then is fine. And it's, like, nice to see, like, the little, like, actual good parts. The animation, the level design's okay. It's not like it's bad from top to finish, but it's just marred down a lot. I played some Sonic Mania. I'm a huge Genesis Sonic the Hedgehog fan. And, I don't know about this game, man. Everybody's loving it, but I just think it's okay. The level design's a little, like, too sporadic for me. And that might just be because when I was little, I would fucking play, like, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like, twice a day, I'll play through it, and they'll be like, oh, I'll start another file with a new character and just play again. So I guess you really start to learn the level layouts. But I still feel like they're less all over the place than in this game. They kind of sort of remind me of Sonic CD, where there's just like multi-tiers everywhere, and I have no idea which path I want to take. And that just makes it harder for me to find like the rings that lead to like special zones and stuff too. But it looks really good. It plays fucking fantastically. And the blue spheres are back as like the not as the special stages, but as the bonus stages you get for like touching the rings that appear over the save posts, the continued posts, and I love blue spheres. It's one of my favorite special stages. But the Chaos Emerald special stages in this one, I do not like them. It's like a low polygon Sega Saturn looking Sonic running after a UFO, sort of like Sega CD, but you're on a track instead of just an open field. And I just hate the way fucking Sonic controls on this. You got to go fast. You collect you collect spheres. You collect these like balls to go faster, and you collect rings to keep your time up, and the more balls you collect, the faster you go. But Sonic just becomes a fucking ass to control when he's going too fast, and you're just like careening all over this track. And I'm not big on these special stages, but I'm gonna keep playing it because I have to. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it enough to not stop.
It sounds like Stockholm Syndrome. Like,
no,
you gotta keep playing Epic Mickey, and you gotta keep playing Sonic Mania.
I beat Epic Mickey.
You're not proving your own point.
I'm gonna keep playing it. It's fun. It's fun. I'm complaining about it a lot just because it's like not wowing me like I wanted it to, but it's still like a really good game.
Well, a lot of people are speaking very highly of it, like to the point where like even I was considering buying this, and I'm like, should I be looking at? Because I don't like Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm not going to dance around the pool. I don't even think the Genesis games are that good. And
I mean, you're wrong, but okay.
No, I'm absolutely right. That's fine. But you can like these garbage platformers. It's fine.
Oh my god. Okay.
But listen, let's not. It doesn't need to come to fisticuffs. You can like garbage games, and I can have the correct opinion. It's fine. At any rate, I don't like the Genesis Sonics, but I thought that like everyone's like, oh, this is great, like this is the first good, like even people who don't like Sonic were like, yeah, it's the first good Sonic game, and I'm like, maybe I should look into this. So I started watching videos, and I was like, nope. I was like, this is Sonic the Hedgehog on Genesis. What are you talking about? It's the same fucking thing. Like, the music's really good, but other than that, I'm like, no, this is the same stupid shit. Fly off backwards on a hill because you jumped on it. Bounce around the nonsensical level design. Get hit by spikes because they just happen to be there. Fall off that edge. This enemy appeared out of nowhere. Like, no, fuck that. That game's stupid as hell. I'm not playing that.
That's fair.
If I were to design it, I was actually thinking about this because I'm like, well, Sonic obviously endures for a reason. Despite having like so many shitty games, like like the character and like the values of the game sort of kind of they keep enduring. Like you don't always go fast, but like the idea that he runs really fast, like that's core to the Sonic mythos over the years. Mm-hmm. And if I were to like design a Sonic game, I feel like almost like it would be more like rhythm based, and there wouldn't be so many like pitfalls. I don't know if it would be auto running, like Bit Trip, but there would be, you know, you'd be moving forward, and it'd be more about finding that rhythm in jump, attack, or something like that, and just maybe it would be reactive to the music. And then you wouldn't fail because spikes literally popped up. You went down a hill through a loop to loop. You're like, wow, this is great, and then spikes just fucked you in the ass because who knows why? Someone thought that was a good idea. You failed because, you know, there was a rhythm going and you lost it. Like how to win was there. You didn't fail because the game's like came up out of nowhere and broke the pattern that you were following. You did the right thing. The game fucked up. No, you fucked up because you didn't follow the rhythm. So like there'd be some sort of rhythm component to it too. And even with the bosses, you can totally go away, you know, go crazy with that, I think. And that would be more true to the Sonic character. You can even have crazy, you know, jet set radio music like Sonic Rush did to go along with that. That to me would like make way more sense than trying to relive the Genesis days or do, you know, try to outdo Mario with colors or do like, you know, different Sonics like generations or whatever. That to me makes way more sense to have something like something like Harmo Knight, but more robust, maybe? Do you know what I'm saying?
You want a rhythm-based auto runner.
I don't know about auto running, but I feel like that's the only way to make it work. I feel like that's to say like what I'm describing would work. Because that's jumping backwards off hills because the physics are dumb.
No, the physics
whatever.
Are so good in the 2D games.
Oh, no, they're awful. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Momentum. It's just momentum.
No, I was standing still and I flew backwards. That's not how momentum works.
It's the game's own momentum. It's how gravity works on Mobius.
Momentum into the trash can.
I don't play the Genesis games fast. I go obviously fast on speed sections, but like when I'm just walking around the rest of the levels, I do not make Sonic run. I like to
right, and you can't play them that way. You can't play them just going fast. You have to play them the way you're describing. That's true, but that's not what people remember about
no,
Sonic.
They don't,
like,
and that's what they turn the later games into. Is just going fast.
That's right. Because number one, that's core to the character, and number two, the level designs were never interesting enough to go slow. They're more interesting when like when you're finding those lines, almost like a Tony Hawk game, and that's why I think like a rhythm game would be more interesting. Just knowing where to jump to get to another section, and if you fail to jump, then you're on this lower section that's maybe less interesting or whatever. You know, knowing what enemies to bounce off of.
No, this sounds terrible. You're not allowed to make a Sonic game.
I don't know. That sounds amazing. I want to play that game. I hope someone makes that game because that sounds really good. It sounds way better than any Sonic games that have come out.
This sounds way more fun to me, but I was never a fan of the Genesis games either.
Obviously, there's lots of Sonic fans, and none of them agree with each other either. So,
and none of them are on this podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm on this podcast.
Half of them want to fuck Sonic. I don't take their opinion very seriously.
To be fair,
is that part 2 or part 3 of the Sonic cycle?
Half of them just want to watch.
Where on the cycle does that fall?
Most of them just want to watch Sonic swallow Tails whole, all right? And then fuck it. No, I don't know. There's nothing
That's how the physics works on Mobius.
There's nothing wrong with the
You swallow someone and then you fuck them.
There's nothing wrong with the Genesis games. And, like, I want to say, like, you just got to know how to play them, but that's, like, such a fucking cop-out, like, maybe the game is broken answer. But, no, I guess I'm just saying if you don't like them, then that's fine.
I probably haven't played them as much as you, but I've played my fair share. So maybe we can debate whether they're quote-unquote good or quote-unquote bad, and that's a whole other podcast.
They don't resonate with everybody.
Right. I can at least fairly say that my opinion does definitely come from experience.
All right.
But I like the sound of this rhythm game. Someone should make this. Let's get on this.
Okay. Sonic Beats.
So, did you call it Sonic Beats?
Yeah, I just called it Sonic Beats.
Sonic Beats by Dre.
Just for the obvious Sonic Beats off porn that's going to be made because of it.
I'm okay with this.
Sonic Beats by Dre by Apple.
Chuckled Obama.
But no, you're all done. Also, the 3D Sonic games are terrible. And I've also been playing with my PSVR.
Did you get the pervy game?
No. No, I really didn't. I really didn't. Wink.
You didn't wink? What are you talking about?
Shut up, Chris.
That's such a dad joke.
I love my dad jokes.
I'm
Come
daddy.
on.
Is Jackie pregnant? Is there something?
No.
Wow. Okay, fine.
That was very loud. Sorry.
Wow, you hit a nerve.
This one drink might be going to my head.
What was I talking about? Oh, I like that. Chris busts out the liquid courage to record episodes.
He's going to be so
that
drunk
is
when he
exactly
officiates
why I am
this
having
wedding.
this one drink. I have to run 20 miles tomorrow. I should not be drinking tonight, but I have to.
You'll be fine. Wait, what the fuck are you running 20 miles? Just get in a car at that point.
Well, I'm going to run 10 miles and then 10 miles back.
Oh, get an Uber back, dude. No, the PSVR. The field of view on it's not as good as the what did I play with before? The Vive in that fucking convenience store.
It's like twice the price.
Yeah, it looks more like you're like looking through goggles as you're playing, you know, so you don't have like as good as like periphery or whatever. But when you're in first person, like you still get that super immersed feeling going on. But I'm not that impressed with it in third person games. And when I demoed, I didn't play any third person games, but I have been here at home. I was playing Res Infinite, and you could still like see your character on screen, but you could like look all around you. And the crosshairs like follow where you're looking, but then you could also fine tune them with your controller, and that like control scheme actually works like super well. There's only 6 levels in Res, but I 100%ed the first 5 of them, which I was not able to do with just the standard controls. And it might be because sometimes when I miss an enemy, I could like flip my whole head backwards and then still shoot it. So it's actually a little easier in VR, but it's still really cool. And the Area X level looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, I've heard Area X is like the thing to play in Res in VR.
It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's like, how do I even explain how it looks? Just look up pictures, put in Res Area X. It's like objects, but they're all like made out of like dots that are glowing and lighted up, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The first time I played the game too, like everything was a little blurry, and I was like, all right, I guess like PSVR is just a little blurry. And then I fucked around with it a lot more, and then I played the game again like a few days later when I knew how to adjust the headset better. I was like, oh, you could actually get it really sharp and see everything that you're actually trying to look at. So there's definitely a bit of a learning curve there. And also, the thing does not feel super comfortable with my glasses on.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, you like put
Yeah.
you put it still works, but I feel like people without glasses are going to get a better experience because you sort of like put the strap over your head, and then like the big front visor part, you slide that towards your face, and then like it has like multiple clicks where it like locks into place like close to your face. But with my glasses, I can't get it like flush with my face, so I could still see like down out the bottom of the VR headset a little bit. So I have to play with the lights off otherwise.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That sucks.
Yeah. So that part's not great. What else was I playing? I just played a bunch of demos in it. I played Thumper, which is sort of like a action rhythm game.
I have that on Switch. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's on. I think it's on all the systems. It's fucking. It looks awesome in the VR, and it's really fun to play. I'm gonna have to download that one. That was like one of the ones that instantly impressed me. I was like, all right, I need this shit. I played Until Dawn: Rush of Blood, which is like a it's sort of like you're on a carnival ride, like a slow-moving carnival ride, but everything's trying to kill you, and you're shooting them with guns. So it's like literally like an on-rail shooter. And there's like buzzsaws and stuff too, and you gotta like dodge your head. You gotta move your head to move out of the way of the buzzsaws, and there's like scary clowns and shit. And the way this level starts, I fucking hate the way, because the demo's only one level. The way the demo starts, there's like a spooky ghost girl walking like kind of far away in front of you, and you're like, all right, that sucks. And then you like hear her laughing off to your left, so then you look to your left, and then you like hear her saying something creepy off to your right, then you look off to your right and she's over there, and then you hear her right fucking next to you on your left, and then you turn around and she's right in your goddamn face. And having things in your face in VR is already like weird enough, but when they're scary dead people, it's very disconcerting. It's very disconcerting. But otherwise, the game's actually really fun. I picked it up. I bought that one, and plus it was like $8 on fucking Best Buy. So I bought that game, and it should be coming in the mail soon. There's a part in the demo where the track sort of turns into a roller coaster with a loop-to-loop, and that is fucking motion sickness city, because when like you see yourself going down a hill and around a loop and you don't feel it, your brain does not like that. I do not know why they even had to throw that in, because it doesn't jive. It doesn't jive with the VR experience. The rest of the like slow moving track thing works a lot better. And then also, you know, before Capcom like unveiled Resident Evil 7, they were showing off that kitchen demo at like trade shows and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So that kitchen demo is on the demo disc as well. And once again, you got like scary dead ghost girls in your face. And I actually had to turn that one off like mid game, because or mid demo anyways, I couldn't handle that. But what I actually really like about that, because you're holding like the PSVR controller, like you hold any controller, but when you look down, with the headset, when you look down at your hands, like your hands are bound together, so it sort of like makes sense in the context of you holding the controller, because it actually feels like your hands are bound together as you're like holding the controller. And then there's like a camera in front of you, and you gotta like reach up and push the camera out of the way with your bound hands, and then some dude tries to help you, but then a ghost girl comes and kills you and then gets all in your face, and then I don't know what happens, because you hit the pause button, you get the fuck out of there.
So is the PlayStation camera tracking the LED on the controller to see that movement?
Absolutely,
gotcha.
Yeah. I played the Rush of Blood demo with the controller, and then with the two separate Move controllers, because they hadn't come in the mail, so I played it again with the Move controls. It fucking sucks with the controller. Like you have two guns in the game, but with the controller, the tracking is really, really bad. First of all, with just with the DualShock 4, and then also you can't shoot independently. So wherever you're shooting, you have to like point both your guns in the same direction. And then with the Move controllers, it actually feels really good, because you got like separate hand movement, and it tracks really good. I also like played the Job Simulator demo, where you're just sort of at a desk, and it all feels really good. Like you could just pick things up and throw them around. It feels all really natural, just like with the like Vive controllers and everything like that. So I was kind of skeptical on how well the Move controllers would work, but they move pretty great. They work pretty great.
Yeah, sounds like you're enjoying a new toy.
Yeah, cool. No, I'm enjoying it a lot. Yeah, I ordered like a bunch of PSVR games are fucking dirt cheap, like the physical ones. So
because no one fucking bought this stuff.
I ordered like 3 or 4 of them, so those should be like coming in the mail really soon. And
cool.
they're like fucking $10 each, so they're a goddamn steal. But that's it for me.
Cool. Guess let's talk about some news, huh?
Yeah, let's do news.
We had Gamescom this past week, and there was a few games announced there. We got Age of Empires 4, developed by Relic, the developers behind Warhammer 40,000. It's coming to at least PC next year. Did you guys play any of the Age of Empires games?
Not a single one.
I think I played Age of Empires 3 when I was in like 8th grade, and it was cool, but
was it educational? Did you learn something?
Not really.
Oh,
okay. I mean, it was cool. I can't believe it's been that long and they haven't had a new one, but They didn't really show a lot. It was just a teaser, so not a whole lot to say about it. I guess it's cool that it's coming from people.
Microsoft shut down that studio or something like that? They did Age of Empires. Is that a Microsoft game?
I think it might be. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they might have shut down that studio, or maybe I'm thinking of another similar game. But I think it was Age of Empires, and that's why you haven't seen one in a while.
Yeah, that might be.
That seems to be Microsoft's MO
these
days. Just shut down everything.
They showed off Jurassic World Evolution from the developer of Zoo Tycoon, and you can build your own Jurassic Park. That sounds kind of cool.
I watched
again, this was just kind of a teaser. They didn't show a whole lot of gameplay or anything, so not a whole lot to say about it. But it's interesting. I'm intrigued to see more about it.
Yeah, no, that's like a good idea for a game, a park builder where shit's gonna go wrong.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like the options that they give you to like rein in whatever, and just the different sort of crises that can happen. I think that can make it like a really fun game.
This isn't actually the first Jurassic Park sim builder that that's been out there. Like I saw a lot of like reaction to this and be like, oh my god, finally. And it's like, well, I hate to be that guy, but there's been a couple of them.
Yeah, no, I saw a bunch of people like, oh sweet, I really loved whatever the other game was that I can't think of the name of.
I think it's Operation Genesis was the console park builder.
Okay.
And then there was one on Game Boy Advance, because that was one of the first games I reviewed professionally.
Wow. The Game Boy Advance park builder?
Yeah, there's like a whole trio of I think it was when Jurassic Park 3 came out, and there's like a whole trio of Game Boy Advance games. And the park builder one was the best of the lot. The other two were not that great.
But we got one for the new generation.
Fuck yeah.
There you go.
Looks good.
And this is supposed to come out next summer, which is probably to coincide with the new movie. I think there's a Jurassic World 2. That sounds like a thing.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's
Pretty
one coming.
sure.
I'll go watch it. I like dinosaurs.
And the other game that was announced was Biomutant, which I think looks pretty cool, actually.
Did you watch the full... Because I thought it looked cool, too. I was reading, because an Amazon page went up before there was the full reveal, and I'm like, oh, this sounds really interesting. And then there was, a brief, sizzle reel kind of trailer, and I was like, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I saw, a full, 11 minutes of gameplay from IGN, and I'm like, that was the quickest turnaround I've ever had on a fucking game. I was like, nah. And the combat, the AI was just not there. I think it's probably because it's not finished, but there was the animations were unfinished. There was no AI to the enemies, so there's 300 different moves. A million tooltips were popping up all over the screen. Press this and that and that and this to do these. There's 20 different moves that you could do, but none of the enemies did anything. So it's yeah, I guess I need all this.
Speaking of unfinished games and trailers, did you see that Shenmue 3 trailer?
That was great.
Why was everybody wooden-faced?
Apparently it's not done. Apparently
Yu Suzuki said that the facial animations are going to be there and stuff, but I don't know.
That's what I'm hoping the case is with Biomutant. Is just I saw that gameplay and I'm like, I'm just hoping this is 2/3 of the way there or something. They just got to buff this out because it's something that would be up my alley. I'm interested in this open world, customized character, real time action combat kind of stuff, but it looked really rough. If that's not going to be improved, I don't think that's going to be a fun game.
And it's surprising they showed as much gameplay as they did, considering the other two games we just talked about were literally just teaser trailers. If this game is not as far along as they would like it to be, why would they show so much footage?
Well, because those other guys were smarter because they knew their shit wasn't finished. They didn't want anyone to see it.
That's fair.
Because then someone asshole like me on a podcast who has an audience of 23 people is going to be like, well, the animations just weren't up to snuff.
Whoa. We're up to 23 people?
Right, we're cooking.
Nice.
Flying up the charts. Crackdown 3 got delayed till the spring. It's supposed to come out in November. I don't have an Xbox One. I don't think you do either, Seth. So, Craig, what do you think?
I was actually looking forward to this because I liked Crackdown 1 and 2, but it's been too long. I don't have any interest. And given the way the game was looking recently and some of the reading some of the hands-on that people had, this is probably it's probably no great big loss that it got delayed. It's probably for good reason. But I mean, as a related aside, after something like that, I don't feel like Microsoft actually really contributes anything to gaming, or they contribute very little to gaming these days for like what is ostensibly, a quote unquote major player. I'm not sure what the Forza, Minecraft, what do they do?
Yeah, and Gears.
I mean, I know they have other things, right? They have like a core of like maybe 5 franchises they churn out, and then they occasionally fund something like Ori and the Blind Forest.
But I feel like it was the past generation where they were really like contributing in a because I mean they basically pushed the popularity of like the cover shooter, of the third person cover shooter, and they gave Gran Turismo like an actual competition in the Forza series. But that was all last generation. What are they doing this generation that's like really
I think they were sliding into this generation with that same kind of mindset. You see that with like Sunset Overdrive,
right?
I think that sort of carried that mindset into this generation. But and Sunset Overdrive is also a good example of where they're at now, where they had like this really cool, vibrant, fun, unique game, and then said, fuck it, and then just didn't do anything with that afterwards. It just wasn't part of like their core franchise. I mean, even Knack is getting a fucking sequel. Knack can get a fucking sequel. You tell me Sunset Overdrive can't get a sequel? Sony's fine with that. Sony will nurture the shit out of a series. Microsoft, if it's not, selling like hotcakes, they just don't. They're not gonna do it anymore. Yeah, which makes actually this Crackdown thing even weird. That must be someone's pet project high up at Microsoft. You're gonna kill off Fable, but you're not gonna kill off fucking Crackdown. Weird. No, someone's. That's got to be someone's pet project. That's who's high up.
And you're right that they were like taking more risks and stuff, and just doing more interesting things at the beginning of the console. Because like even they were funding like small things like D4 and whatever that fake Panzer Dragoon sequel was and stuff like that. And then even if it took them a long time to get out, why can't I think of the name of the game by the Alan Wake people?
Oh, Quantum Break.
Quantum Break. And they're at least trying to do something different and interesting there with like their real-time TV shows in the middle of the game and shit. Even though like I don't know who wants that, but at least it's different and interesting. And
I guess to be fair, there are anomalies like Quantum Break, and then you have at least like you said, at least Quantum Break had some clever elements to it. I didn't play it, but it didn't look that good either. But then you have stuff like Recore too. So like every time like they pop out of their comfort zone, they just put out something mediocre, I guess.
Yeah.
I just for someone who is a major console manufacturer, I would suspect. I mean, they own fucking Minecraft. For someone who's a big player in video games, they impact my gaming zero. I would say in the past 2 years they just had absolutely no impact since Rare Replay. I don't think they've had no impact on gaming for me at all.
Yeah. Well, I think it probably says something that 2 of the 3 of us on this podcast don't own the system. And the other one says they have zero impact. So.
And the 360 was my go-to system last generation.
Mine too. But the thing is, like, even with the PS3, I hated that fucking thing. But I played it because there were games there. And I can't even say that about the one. I don't like the one. I think that has the most inscrutable user interface in the history of... I don't know what the fuck. It looks like some open source shit. It's bad. But if there were games there, I'd play it. Even though I prefer the PS4. They're not there. They're not... that. My Xbox is not... I don't even have it plugged in. I'm not even going to waste the sleep mode electricity on that fucking thing.
Yeah. It's too bad. I mean, I'm would love to pick up Crackdown 3. I mean, I was a huge fan of the original Crackdown, but that's like the only game that's coming out that I have any interest in. So I'm not gonna go shill out $300 for a new system just for one game.
Oh,
I don't like Crackdown
system.
that much.
You can pay $500 for the 4K system. That's all they're doing.
That's
they're just drop kicking a new console into the audience. Surf's up, dudes. It's 4K, and like that's it. They're just walking away. That's all they're doing.
Yeah. What are you gonna play on it? Who knows?
I think just today they officially announced that the original Xbox One is discontinued. So they just.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, they just have the S. Is it the S?
Yep.
And
the S and the
M1.
X.
The S and the X.
The Xbox
Jesus
One
Christ.
S and the Xbox One X. That's not confusing.
All right.
Oh.
Well,
But
they
enough,
have the most
enough
powerful.
bashing on the Xbox One.
They have the most powerful video game console coming out, so that's maybe they're
It sounds
contributing.
like a fucking 3DO. Get out of here.
Maybe they're contributing to hardware now. Actually, God, that does. The Atari
man.
Jaguar, the most powerful 64-bit console.
Do the math.
All right.
And we got a few remakes announced for consoles coming up. We got the Fear Effect remake coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
That's such a weird remake to pick up.
That doesn't make it. It doesn't even make any sense.
Isn't that like Square Enix owned now because of like?
Yeah, it was published
IDOS.
by IDOS. So
Yeah,
It was IDOS, yeah.
So now it's Square. Huh.
yeah,
I actually liked Fear Effect. I liked the first Fear Effect, but the stuff that made did you guys play Fear Effect?
No, but I'm very
did not.
familiar with it because at the time when I was a teenager,
yes, I remember the box art for sure.
yeah, there were lesbians in the game, Craig.
Yeah, the second game had a 2-page like print ad with ladies on top of each other that said something about how the game was capable of 13 climaxes. The game was absolutely not beating around the bush about what it was.
Yeah, no. So,
But here's the thing: the first game had two graphical things that were big selling points, and that was it wasn't technically cel shading because the PS1 I don't think is powerful enough for that. It just didn't. The character models didn't have texture on the polygon, so it looked like cel shading, and that looked very, cool back then. And the game is played from a fixed angle, like Resident Evil.
and it had really cool pre-rendered backgrounds.
They actually weren't pre-rendered; they're FMV.
Oh,
They
they're
were
FMVs.
looping-
That's right. They're moving. Yeah.
Yeah, they were looping FMVs, and it looked really cool because the FMVs were like really blurry because they had to fit on the disc. So that made them look like they were in the distance, and there's just all these blurry moving objects, and it was cool. With this teaser, it doesn't look like the same sort of bright, colorful anime-esque art style. It's sort of dark and busy looking. And I don't know, big deal. There's stuff moving in the background. That was cool in 2000. It's not really that cool now. It's a very strange. I liked the game back in the day, but it's a strange. I think it's a product of its time. I don't think it really makes sense now.
What is this a horror game? Like, what's the genre of it?
No, it's actually not horror. I wouldn't call it that. There's supernatural elements to it. It plays like Resident Evil. It's more like a action survival game.
Okay.
You have like this weird health bar where if you get hurt, obviously your health goes down. It's like an EKG, I think. And then if you like do good, it goes back up. So it's almost like regaining, I don't know, your sanity or something. So like if you solve a puzzle, you restore your health. If you do a stealth kill, you restore your health. So there's like these weird like survival, almost horror-esque elements, but I don't think that's what the game's supposed to be like. I don't think it's supposed to be horror.
I'm gonna track like down a PS1 copy of this game.
I don't think they're very expensive.
Yeah, probably. I don't think most PS1 games are.
Actually, I think that if this was just an HD re-release, that would look more interesting. Like seeing those looping FMVs and stuff like that, and seeing like these shitty cel shading on the PS1, like that to me would look way more interesting than a full-on remake. But the thing is, I guess for the normies, you have to do the remake. They're not going to be as impressed by the FMV maybe.
Right. What's the other remakes, Chris?
We also got Secret of Mana remake coming to PS4, Vita, and PC.
I don't know about this art style on the game.
Yeah,
I don't like that. What is that?
I am not loving that.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Like watched the trailer and then with the reveal and then like had the tree artwork and then it sort of like went into emotion. I was like, oh sweet, and then it went to everything else and I'm like, fuck, this looks
Like,
budget as
ooh.
shit.
It actually looks like. Have you seen? I think it was. I'm not sure what it was called. I have it on the Vita. It is the Seiken Densetsu 1 remake, so like Final Fantasy Adventure or Sword of Mana.
I
It
think
might be
it's
even called
I think
Sword
it's
of Mana.
Adventure of Mana. Maybe.
Adventure of Mana, right? It looks like that. It looks like a mobile game spiffied up for Vita is what the Secret of Mana looks like.
Yeah, no, it's. Is it a mobile game? Wasn't there a mobile?
That's what. Adventure of Mana. Like that's what I'm talking about. It was it was Seiken Densetsu 1. It was the
No, but I mean
predecessor.
of this one. Of
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question.
Because
it's hard to keep track
there's
sometimes.
no reason for these elements in the game to be so low poly.
They might be emulating an art style. I mean, sort of like the low poly aesthetic is something that's. I actually don't expect that may not be the case because I don't expect Square Enix to be at the forefront of that. But for like indies who we had pixel art there for a while, low poly is actually becoming more and more popular. But I don't know. Maybe Square Enix didn't do that intentionally.
I'm looking this up. I'm going to see if there's a mobile version that came out in Japan or something.
And of course, we're obligated to say why isn't this coming to Switch, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously can run on it.
Yeah, and Switch just had a Secret of Mana collection in Japan, or Seiken Densetsu collection in Japan. So obviously they know there's a market for fans of that series. So why not put it there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sony probably paid for it, which is fine. I don't say that as a pejorative. I mean, that's business, but I suspect there was probably money exchanged for that.
Yeah.
I don't think they paid a lot.
I actually never played the original Secret of Mana, but having seen this trailer, I would still rather play the original than play this one. So I don't know.
The original's so pretty and it's fun.
It's really pretty, but I'm really underwhelmed by that game. I didn't play it as a kid. Yeah, I played it as an adult. I remember because I didn't play Secret of Mana and I didn't play Chrono Trigger as a kid, and these are they're both highly revered games, and so I played them as an adult. I had a loose cartridge of Secret of Mana, and then I had Chrono Trigger on DS, and those are my first experiences with those games. And Chrono Trigger, I wasn't like the hype for that game built up over time is just
insane.
There's no way the game could have lived up to that.
Yeah.
No, but it was still really good. And I really enjoyed it. Whereas with Secret of Mana, I was like, well, this is fine. I think I remember feeling like the map design was really just sort of nonsensical. It didn't feel quite right.
Okay.
I think that was my big, but I don't. Yeah, I remember thinking like, yeah, this is fine. This is all right.
I played Secret of Mana the first time. I was late teens, early 20s probably, but I played through it with my friend, so we played through co-op. And it was really
that probably makes a difference. To some extent.
I'm sure it does, but it was really fun. It was really fun to play through with him.
And we also have a remake of Yakuza 2. Yakuza Kiwami 2 was accidentally leaked on the Taiwan PSN store.
That's fine.
Yeah. I think the Yakuza devs have a surprise announcement tomorrow or the day after or something. So
oops.
I think everybody knew what it was going to be anyways, but it was whatever.
It was a re-release of Dead Souls.
No. But yeah, no, that would be cool.
That's cool. Yeah. No, I mean we don't even have the first Kiwami yet. That comes out in a couple of days after we record this, but.
Cool. That's it for news.
Nice. What are we going into?
Let's talk about games that
baby.
we're looking forward to. We can talk about that, but I don't want to talk about you and me. Let's just cut that. Let's cut that out.
All right.
I remember that I was actually playing at one of my middle school dances.
Really? It seems inappropriate.
Yeah.
And that was early. That was where it was like a middle school that was called intermediate. So it was definitely 5th grade.
Oh man.
No kidding, man. Oh man. So let's talk about some games that we are looking forward to coming out for the rest of the year, I guess. I mean, because it's not technically fall yet or the holiday season, but we're coming up on that. And some of the bigger releases are coming out very shortly after this episode. So I think it's about time we can talk about that. And I think we can start off with, safely, Super Mario Odyssey on Switch.
What is this game?
What are we talking about? I don't know. It just only won a bunch of awards at E3 and Gamescom.
No,
what am I talking about?
It stars Odysseus.
Remember when I was saying before how I wasn't like super blown away by this game? I was just sort of like, yeah, it looks good and we'll get it and stuff like that. I was watching some of the Gamescom footage from the Luncheon Kingdom, I believe it's called. And I was like, all right, this game looks pretty fantastic.
You're going to have to eat your stupid words.
I'm going to eat them in the Luncheon Kingdom.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Mario like turned into a... God, Podoboo. Podoboos are the official names of the lavas that jump up out of the lava, right?
I had no idea.
Sure, let's go with that.
All right. Well, if this was a goddamn like random ass Zelda bad guy that showed up once, Chris, you would know. All right.
He would.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
All right, so Mario turns into a Podoboo and he's like swimming around in this pink liquid, and it's goddamn adorable. And he's like jumping up, and like you could jump the same height as the Podoboos do. God, I really hope I'm getting this name right because I'm saying Podoboo a lot. And then
I just searched Podoboo on Google, and it wants to know if I meant photo books. Just so you know.
Oh my God, I'm gonna stick with Podoboo anyway. I'm going with this. Maybe it's
you're too deep in now. You got to stick with it.
I am. I'm whatever. And then there was also like footage of Mario doing like this really cool move where there's basically like a section he's standing on, and then there's a wall, and then another section beyond the wall. And the only way around was like to go around the wall, but there's no platform. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like death pit down below. And so he like threw his hat out over the abyss, and then like did a dive onto it, and then another jump dive off of the hat onto the platform on the other side of the wall to get around. I was like, holy shit, that's some like awesome movement that's in the game. You know, so there's going to be like really good movement options, which I think is one of the things that just made like Super Mario 64 such a fun game. So now I'm looking forward to this game more now.
I took the day off. I took the day off from work.
Nice.
Good for you.
I have all these personal days I can't carry over to the next year anyway. But that's also the same day that Stranger Things 2 comes out. So it's going to be Mario. Portable, of course. This is why I love handhelds. I can play Mario, the brand new Mario, and watch Stranger Things 2 on my day off from work.
At the same time.
No, well, actually, technically, yes. But don't split your time up like that.
You probably shouldn't, but you could.
Why shouldn't I? Of course I'm going to do that. You guys bananas?
I can't.
How are you going to pay attention to Stranger Things when you're, jumping over Koopa Troopas and stuff?
I can do both.
Podoboos.
Podoboos.
Hey, I pulled this up on the Super Mario Wiki, and it says lava bubbles, sometimes called Podoboos. So there we go. It's a Podoboo.
It is the official name. You did it. You remembered it.
I got it.
Well done.
Good work. But is this? No. I feel like this is like the holiday game. Am I wrong in that?
It's weird that it's not coming out in November when Nintendo's big games usually do. But yeah, this seems to be a huge release, at least in my opinion. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, no, this is going to be the Switch game that everybody's going to be playing at the end of the year.
It almost seems to make sense though to have like a lead up. Because, I mean, their console isn't coming out in the holiday season. It came out in the spring. So it almost kind of makes sense to have, like, maybe a head start on the holiday season for the big Mario game. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, that's weird, though, because assuming Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is still releasing this year, then that's going to be, like...
That's not a big holiday game,
but it's going to be in the holiday slot. It's going to be in the big
but when someone buys like little Billy his Switch for Christmas, that's the holiday slot for like the hardcore open world video game enthusiasts. But like little Billy, Mario's already out.
Right.
His mom can go pick that up. She doesn't have to wait for Xenoblade to come out or whatever.
Yeah,
it's true too. And then everybody's going to be talking about it. Little Billy's going to be seeing all these YouTube videos, and he's going to be like, "Mom, I need fucking Mario." He shouldn't say fucking. But no, that's
little Billy has a foul mouth.
He's a little dick.
And I see where he gets it.
Yeah, no, so you're not wrong. You're not wrong there, Craig.
I'm right sometimes.
You're right sometimes.
Especially about Sonic.
And that little Billy. No. and now I don't even want to do my.
Oh, it's a
joke
two-parter.
anymore.
Okay, go on with B. That's I want to hear this.
No, I was gonna say, and that little Billy grew up to be Craig Lupinski.
And just looked up the Podoboos on YouTube. Said, "Fuck you, Mom. Get me Mario."
Yeah, no, game looks great.
Yeah,
And I presume all three of us are also looking forward to Metroid Samus Returns.
Yeah,
yes.
I think so. Or Return of Samus. No, Samus Returns. Samus Returns is the
Samus,
correct
yeah,
one.
because I think Return of
Yeah.
Samus was the original subtitle, but they had to change
Right.
it, I guess.
Right.
They had to flip that shit around. That's how you know it's a new game.
I think it looks like fun.
It looks super good. It looks really good, and just the way who's Sakamoto? He's the Metroid producer, right?
Yes.
The way he's just talking about the way them and Mercury Steam are just working all harmoniously together, and everything's working out, and how like they're doing stuff like beyond and above his expectations. Obviously he's promoting the game, but no, it sounds good. It's still exciting to hear.
Yeah, I mean, everything we've seen, leads to believe that, or inspires me to believe that, they really are going above and beyond expectations. I mean, I would be buying this game either way because it's the first 2D Metroid game in, 13 years now or something since Zero Mission.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, it really does look fantastic. I was hesitant to get on board. Mercury Steam made that Castlevania 3DS game, which I don't know was super well received, and it's 2.5D, and I'm like whatever. But the more I see of it, the more excited I get. This looks really good.
Yeah,
I like the 3DS Castlevania game, for the record. Just want to put that out there.
it's not bad. But no, the game looks like just fluid and fun, and it looks great. And there's little details. I saw somebody on, I don't know where it originally came from, but somebody on NeoGAF was like posting like comparison screenshots of rooms like from the original Metroid 2 and the Metroid 2 unofficial remake, and then this game right here. And in one of the rooms, there's like a power up that's just like randomly under like a little ledge for no goddamn reason. And that's the same, and they didn't change that in the unofficial remake either. The dude who made that game, props to him, by the way. But like in the in this new game, in the Mercury Steam game, there's like actually like a broken and crumbled like Chozo statue, and then it makes sense where the power up rolled to under that ledge. So just like even little tiny details and changing the rooms up like that is going into it, and games they're putting heart into it when they're even going into small little details like that.
For sure. Did
Yeah,
you guys play the original Metroid 2?
Oh yeah,
Yes. That was the
Okay.
first Metroid I played.
The second Metroid I played, but it was the first good Metroid I played.
Yeah, because I went back and played the first one, and I was like,
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like the second one. I mean, it's black and white and it's more linear and it's, whatever, but I actually like it more than the original Metroid, and it sounds like you guys are on board with that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
So, yeah, I like Metroid 2, and I'm pretty excited to see how this remake turns out because, I like it, but it does definitely have its issues. So, this should remedy those and be fantastic from everything I've seen. So, let's do it. I'm ready.
We're in it.
right on. So me personally, I'm looking forward to. I think most of all, other than those games, I'm really looking forward to Monster Hunter Stories, which I already talked at length about, so I won't talk. I won't talk about it all again. I'm just looking forward to it. And then Destiny 2, of course. I spent quite a bit of time with the beta, which really wasn't a beta; it was more of a live demo. And there are things about it I really liked. I liked that the story mission felt more alive. There was, characters and scripted events where the first Destiny really didn't do. They just sort of dropped you somewhere and said, "Figure it the fuck out." Read the grimoire cards on the website, and then you can learn the story. That's it. Like that's the.
How did that work? Like you collect the cards in the game, and then you have to go to a website to read them.
Yeah, or in the Destiny app.
Okay,
That's weird.
Yeah, it was really stupid. The story was really bad. Like, I don't really remember much. I remember something about the Black Heart, and then you get to the very end, you think you're going to get answers, and this lady that you've been chasing just says, "I don't have time to explain to you why I don't have time," and then she gives you a gun that's way underpowered for where you are at that time, and then leaves. And that's the end of the game. Here's a shitty gun you don't want. I can't explain anything to you. My planet needs me now. Bye. And Bungie's not addressing like any of like the broader Destiny mythos. They said they're not really addressing those things with it. I'm like, but you put a 2 at the end of it. You're supposed to. Like, your story sucked. Can't you give me any sort of resolution to your shitty story? And they didn't. They're just sort of going in with a new, really honestly, the story that they're going in with is really could be something from an expansion, honestly. So that's kind of disappointing. And I'm sort of unsure how weapons work. I'm not going to really bog down the discussion with the mechanics of it, but they changed the way you equip weapons now and the weapon types that you can equip. And I didn't really care for it in the beta, but I'll reserve judgment to see how that actually operates in the full game. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to sinking hundreds of hours more into a game that I love to hate and hate to love. How about you, Chris?
I've been thinking I actually might pick up Destiny 2.
I would love to play with you. I would love to play with you if you picked it up for PS4.
Yeah, it's one of those things like I hear so many people talk about, and I think I said this before already, but it's one of those things I hear so many people talk about, and I haven't, given it a fair shot. And I'm thinking I might trade some games into GameStop, and I actually might have some credit that I can put towards that just to check it out. Like, it's not like I've followed it and there's things that really appeal to me about it. I'm interested. I hear so much about it, and it sounds cool. So. And
Destiny 2 is going to be good for newcomers too, because nothing carries over.
The first game,
right?
Yeah, everything gets blown up. Like, literally, like that's the explanation. Like, your stuff got blowed up.
I hope
that's that quality Destiny story you've come to know and love.
I really hope there's a story beat where it's just like it was all a fever dream. None of that even really happened.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, like, I was thinking maybe I should just go back and check out Destiny 1 first, but, I mean, if the story doesn't matter, I assume that all the gameplay will be, have all those improvements that a sequel would have, so it seems like a good place for me to jump in. So I might do that.
You should, and we should play together.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. One of the things I'm looking forward to this fall is Layton's Mystery Journey, the new Professor Layton game, which doesn't actually star Professor Layton. I was a huge fan of this series when it was on the DS, and then I had a couple entries on 3DS as well. But I just got burned out because there were so many of them. It was coming out.
That's the level 5 way. They find a game that works, and then they're like it's like Activision, but with something like cute and friendly and family.
It's true.
Like
it's like Tony Hawk Tony Hawk or Assassin's Creed or something.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan. I played through, I think, the first 4 of them on DS, and then I didn't finish the 3DS games just because, when they're coming out every year, I think there were 6 of them in like as many years, plus the crossover with Phoenix Wright. Mm-hmm. But it's been, I think, 3 years since the last one came out, so I'm ready to jump back into that world. It should be interesting. It seems like it's going to have a lot of the same characters, but obviously you have a different central character, so...
it's like his daughter, right?
Yeah, it's his daughter. So I think it's set 20 years in the future or something. Which is
Professor Layton fucks.
Apparently,
I played the phone game. There's a phone game, and like it stars Professor Layton's son. So
is that Layton Brothers?
Yeah,
I didn't play that, but I heard it was something.
I don't even know why it's called Layton Brothers. There's only one of them, so I don't know what the fuck's going on in that game.
This one's actually out on iOS too.
Actually,
iOS and Android and stuff.
Can we back up a second, Craig? Have you seen fucking Professor Layton? He has a top hat. He can sword fight. He's a gentleman. Of course he fucks.
I'm just picturing him solving puzzles in bed, like, oh, I've got it. And
and then she comes.
How is Babby formed?
Oh god!
And then he moves a bunch of matchsticks around, and then there's a baby.
No, he moves a bunch of matchsticks around, and it's like an Uber number for her to get. No, I'm not. But no, yeah, of course he fucks. He's awesome.
My mistake.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was burnt out on the series for a while, but I'm really excited that they're bringing it back, and it's been, I think, long enough that I'm ready to jump back in. Those games have a batshit insane story, and all kinds of cool puzzles, and I love both of those things. It's never been one or the other for me. It's always been the perfect combination of those two things. So I'm ready to get back into Professor Layton. And another game that I'm looking forward to this fall, which I'm sure you guys are going to laugh at me for, is Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. Yeah.
Fucking nerd.
Fuck you guys.
Nerd.
How does Spider-Man's Lego webs work? Do they just like thonk people with their little plastic webbing?
I don't know, man. I haven't actually played any of the Lego Marvel games, but the fact that this one is on Switch is actually a big part of my interest in it. We've talked about before how I wish more third-party games would come out on Switch. I mean, it's not like a platform loyalty thing. I mean, I am a big Nintendo fan, but just having it be portable or be on the TV is just a big appeal to me. Being able to play it anywhere if I want to. But it also, obviously is also the fact that I'm a huge Marvel fan and there's like 300 characters and Spider-Man's webs probably do just go flop on people. But, it's super cool. It's going to have a lot of characters. It's going to have a lot of, different locales. And maybe it's just, to me, a lot of fan service and stuff. But that's what I want from a Marvel game, to be honest with you. As long as it's fun and it's got a lot of, cool references. I mean, the Marvel universe is so big. Having that many characters, you can have that many characters and have them still be relevant and stuff. Not a lot of universes out there. You say you have 300 characters. It's like, okay, who the heck are they? But, I don't think that's the case with Marvel, so.
Yeah, no, I'm sure everybody knows 300 Marvel characters. Chris.
Maybe it's just me. No, it's not just me. It's me and, the 50,000 other people that read Marvel comics.
Right.
And that's why they're tanking.
Is 50,000 not enough to sustain comics?
I think I'm rounding up. I think it's actually lower than that for a lot of them, and that's why they get canceled. But
are all these games still made by Telltale?
I believe they are. Traveler's Tales.
Oh, I think. Traveler's Tales. Why did I say
It's like
Telltale?
a fucking sweatshop just cranking these things out.
It's Lego games sweatshop.
It's like a Lego game sweatshop.
Yeah. Like I said, I've had interest in the Lego Marvel games before and some of the other Lego games, and it's not something that's always necessarily going to be at the top of my list. But the fact that it's on Switch, it seems like it'll be a good thing to play while I'm watching Stranger Things. Like Craig's going to play Mario. No, it seems like a good thing to play while I'm doing other things.
I get
or play on the
anxiety
go.
listening to you guys say that you're going to split up your attention between two different things. I need to get back in therapy, man.
Apparently. What are you looking forward to this fall, Seth, besides your therapy?
I'm not, yeah, that starts next month. I am looking at my list of games, and I'm like, oh man. So let's just pick the worst ones. There's Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash, which I don't. You anime titty girls and they shoot each other with water guns.
Is this basically Splatoon with butts? Is that what this is?
I think it's more. I think there's basically, but I think there's also a single player component where I remember seeing a video a while ago, and one of the girls grew giant for some reason, and obviously she's in a bikini because it's Peach Beach Splash, and then you had to run around and get all the soap off of her with your squirt gun while ninjas were also trying to kill you with water guns. The game looks terrible. I honestly do not know why I'm buying it.
I feel like in a campy way that would actually be fun. Honestly,
I hear the gameplay's not that good either.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like the Senran Kagura games, not only are they just not that great, they're not completely awful either. They're not. This is not Hyperdimension Neptunia level bad.
Yeah, no.
But they're not great, and they feel more exploitative than they do campy.
I think they have reached that point now. I think with the first couple games, I think it was more campy. But I think with the Vita games, which I have not played any of, I think they got into more exploitative territory. But I like the 2D. I like the side-scrolling beat-em-ups on 3DS. I mean, they're definitely low budget, and the environments are really plain. But they feel almost like a 2D Warriors game or something, where you're just beating up these big waves of enemies.
Yeah, those are all right. There's the first couple of games are all right, but then after that, I just the series got progressively worse and more creepy.
Yeah, I'm gonna see where this lands.
But I feel like cleaning off like a giant sudsy bikini girl could be good campy fun, but it could also be like creepy as well. It depends on how the game handles that, I think.
We'll see.
We'll see. You'll have to report back to us.
I absolutely will.
Wait. I just want to be clear. Your girlfriend let you get this game?
I haven't talked with her. She doesn't listen this far into the podcast, so who cares?
Okay, all right. Well, hey, you report back to us.
And then I'm also looking forward to Ys 8 as well. And I said terrible games, but I fucking love the Ys games. I'm kind of stuck though because I have not beat Ys 6. I've played like Origins through 5, and I have not played 6 or 7. And I really want to finish those up before I start 8. But
what platform is 6 on? 'Cause I'm sure I own it, but I can't remember what it's on.
It's released on like more of it was originally like a PC game in Japan, but then it got a PSP release over here, and then also like a PS2 like sort of a remake release where it's all polygonal and it's all 3D models and everything, so sort of like a buffed up PS2 release. And then it also got like a Steam release of the original PC version, but with like widescreen support and everything. So.
That's not Oath and Felghana, is it?
No, that's 3.
That's 3. Okay.
6 is like Ark of Napishtim.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You're not even saying real words.
I'm pretty sure "of" is a word, Chris.
The game is called Wise. Like it's not concerned with real words.
But no, I'm really looking forward to that game. So, yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I don't know much about it, but I know I have loved every single Ys game I played, even like the old school ones where you just walk into enemies to bump kill them.
Into people to kill them.
They're still fun. They're still so fun. But yeah. No, I'm totally into this series, so I'm all for it.
I hope the new one is as easy as the other ones.
God, fucking shit. See,
I'm getting as many of these in as I can.
This is why we blocked your Skype call last episode.
All right. Well, hey, maybe we should find out what some of the listeners are looking for.
Let us find out. Colton Everett on Twitter says that he's looking forward to Danganronpa version 3, volume 3. What's the V stand for? We'll just go with V3. Glad to see the series doing good here in the West and being released not very long after the Japanese version. I haven't played any of the Danganronpa games, and I feel like I would really like them.
I think you would like them, yeah.
Because they seem right up my
Chris
alley.
might too, actually.
I actually own the first 2, and I haven't played them.
Chris,
I actually own the limited edition of Danganronpa 2, and it's still sealed.
I have the same exact. Yeah, no, I own the first one, but I have actually played some of the first one.
It does not seem like your kind of game at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it would be.
I hate talking about these kinds of games because there are elements of games like this that I like, but as a complete package, no, you're right. They're not really my jam, and I want to like them because I like those. I try to hang on to those couple of elements that I'm into, but I can't like the whole product. It's not my thing.
Sebastian on Twitter says he's looking forward to the new South Park game, Deep Strange Journey. I forgot that was even a thing that exists.
Is that coming out this year? I thought that was next year.
I don't.
I mean,
know.
he can still look forward to it, but I thought that was next
maybe
year.
I should vet these better. But and Mario Odyssey. And Scott says he's looking forward to Gran Turismo. What are you doing listening to this podcast, Scott? What's in this for you?
What is in it for you? Gran Turismo's coming out this year?
Well, I guess. I have no idea, man. I have never played a goddamn racing car sim
that's
in my
really
life.
outside of our scope.
I don't think I knew there was a new Gran Turismo.
Yeah, no, me neither. I'm glad Scott digs the podcast because, man, I have no idea what he's getting.
Maybe he made it up and we have no idea.
There's a game called Gran Turismo Sport coming out this year.
All right, cool.
Huh.
That's is that like a Forza competitor, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, what do you know? I mean, we don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not asking you guys, but like any of us know. I'm just sort of. I think I'm just wondering out loud, really.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Scott.
These are fast. Let's throw in the last one. Cam on Twitter says he's looking forward to Metroid, Super Mario Odyssey, and the eventual Switch release of Hollow Knight. Been loving the podcast so far. Thank you, Cam.
Thank you, Cam.
See, I like
Thanks,
compliments. That's why you got yours read, Cam, because you complimented us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sucking up will get you everywhere.
I am also looking forward to the release of Hollow Knight. I've heard that's really good.
I can't even.
But I don't have a PC. I have a Mac, so I can't play it on my PC.
Well, apparently you can play it on Switch very soon.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. I just said that. Aren't you
All
even
right.
listening, Seth?
No, I don't listen to you. I thought we established this.
That's right. We did.
Okay.
If other people want to get in on the podcast, how do they do that, Seth?
You mean and on the mailbag?
Yeah.
They could reply to the mailbag question on Twitter at Ludowave Radio. That goes up the Thursday before every recording. So that would be the next one on September 8th. No, I'm lying. September 7th. And then also on Facebook, you could find our page, Ludowave Radio, and there'll also be a posting there, and you could reply to that.
All right, cool.
And if you don't see it go up on Thursday, just wait until the very end of the day. It still might be coming.
I forgot. I was stressed at work that day. It was not a good work day. So
we'll give you a pass. You can take a pass. Do we have anything else we want to add to this episode? This long episode. We're going back into old TV, almost like 2-hour episode territory.
That's not great.
No, we're good. Cut it off now.
No. Who got an SNES Mini?
Not me.
Chris?
I got one pre-ordered today at Walmart, so it'll probably be canceled.
Yeah, I got one from Walmart too. So let's.
I think Walmart's canceling them.
I think
They canceled that initial batch, but I don't know what's going to happen after today. We'll see.
I've read a few people have got cancellations from the new batch on Walmart, but
yeah, I heard that too.
I haven't.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
I'm not going to sweat it. This is for the initial batch. Nintendo says they're making them through the end of the year. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get one. I probably won't. I'm just not going to necessarily sweat the launch batch.
Right. And they said there will be more available on day one than just the pre-orders too. So there'll be those, and there'll be more shipments, and hopefully it'll be not easy to get one, but hopefully it's possible to get one.
3 per store.
We'll see how that goes. All right. Well, we're cutting this off.
Yeah,
we're
done.
Here, so. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening. You can find us at our home online on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Ludowave Radio, where you can download the podcast. You can stream it. You can like it there. That's cool. You can find us in Apple Podcasts. You can find us in Stitcher. You can find us on Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. And we also ask that please give us a review. That would be greatly appreciated. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook, as Seth mentioned, at Ludowave Radio on both. Our theme song was composed exclusively for us by Morning Moon and Mercury. You can find more of his work at morningmoonandmercury.bandcamp.com. You can find me, Craig, on both Twitter and Instagram. I am at TV and Lust. Seth, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Seth Castello.
And Chris?
On Twitter at echrisdunn and on Instagram at echrisdunn.
That's
You can roll those into one, Chris. Craig just did it.
Electronic Chris Dunn.
I guess we'll just have to do another episode of this podcast next time, and I'll fix it.
No. Let's end.
We're out.
Bye.